Hello, my name is Barry and I'm going to give a Bible talk from Hebrews chapter 4 verses 14 to 16. I remember a story from when I was about 6 or 7 years old when my mum asked me to go down the road to the pub on the corner and tell Dad that dinner was ready. In the 70s we didn't have mobile phones, so Mum used to tell me the message and I'd have to run and tell the neighbours or tell Dad. So I was probably the original mobile phone for our family. So I went down to the pub to tell Dad about dinner being ready. When I got to the doorway of the pub, I stopped because I didn't have any confidence to go into the pub. Why? Because I was 6 years old and small, and when I looked in, they were big and older than 6 years old. I think that was the first time that Mum had asked me to do that, so I had no confidence anyway to go into the pub. I had to get Dad's attention though somehow. So what I did was I walked back and forth in front of the doorway hoping to get his or someone else's attention, and that someone might say, "Who's that kid?" And Dad knew me. He said, "I know that one, he's mine." And I'm thankful for that, because it was, could have got dark, I could have been still standing out there and dinner would have got cold. When Dad came over to the doorway, he said, "Why didn't you come in and get me?" We know why. Because I had no confidence to go in. You see, the temple is a place where the people of Israel go to meet with God. The temple has different sections, and two of these sections are called the holy place and the most holy place. In the most holy place was where the presence of God dwelt, and a curtain separated these two sections, and only a high priest could go in to the most holy place. But that was only after he had been cleaned and the clothes that he wore, that they were clean as well. The high priest is required to go into the most holy place once a year to make amends to God for his sin and for the sin of the people of Israel. And this would happen year after year. So when Jesus died on the cross for our sin, at the same time, the curtain in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 14 says, "Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess." You see, Jesus is far greater than all the high priests, because Jesus has gone into heaven to make amends for our sin. And this didn't need to be repeated year after year. And that Jesus was the perfect offering for everyone. Jesus is our hope, and we don't let go of our faith in him. Jesus faced the same ordeals that we're faced with, it says in verse 15. But he was found without sin, and so he's able to understand our feelings and identify with our trials and suffering. This throne in verse 16 is not a throne where punishment is handed out, but this throne is a place of forgiveness and mercy, where we can draw near to God. Jesus has made a way for us to go into the most holy place, to go directly into the presence of God. Jesus, the great high priest, is representing us before God, so we can have the confidence to approach God. Just as I had no confidence in myself to go into the pub to get my dad, but because of Jesus, we can have confidence to approach God for forgiveness, mercy and help in our time of need.